My sister-in-law is basically a loser. A college dropout, had a baby when she wasn't ready, and she picks on her brother because he's more successful. It's ridiculous, and I have to overwatch it all while I see my husband going through the stress of it. He's depressed these days, and it's all because of her. So I'm gonna have to do something about it, and I thought, maybe you don't have anything to do, you could come along for the journey.
Hey guys, my name's Cherry. I recently got married to my high school boyfriend Gideon. And Gideon is just so talented and extraordinary. I adore that he's successful even at the age of 24. However, that's not how his twin sister Rachel feels. Gideon and I grew up together. We've known each other since elementary school, and he was an extraordinary student. Kids picked on him a lot though. While I was just an average student, I was very tall and strong, so of course we became friends. He used to let me copy his homework also, teaching me how to do it while I copied it, while I just stared all his bullies down and pretended as I heard him as he explained how he did the homework. It was a match made in heaven, really. When we started high school, he was my first boyfriend. We hung out together after school every day doing homework or going out to the movies. He had also started playing volleyball for our school's team and to be an all-rounder student. I knew he had a bright future ahead right from the start. However, Gideon has always struggled with anxiety and depression. I remember that he missed out on homecoming because he was depressed, and I missed it too so we could just watch movies instead. He's always just struggled with sudden episodes of blue days, especially during the colder months. And Gideon is an overthinker as well. He can't shut his brain off, especially when he's spiraling, and that causes him to have really bad panic attacks. Well, he's truly the one of the best people I know. He has never let his mental health define who he is. He's always been strong and gotten past his struggles every single time, and when he can't, he asks me to push him towards his destination. However, with Gideon comes his twin sister Rachel. I've never liked Rachel very much, even when we were kids. She didn't care that her friends were cruel to Gideon. She lived in her own little world where Gideon did not exist most of the time, and she grew up into a woman who still pretends that Gideon's existence does not affect her, even though Gideon pays for the life that she has. Gideon, Rachel, and I all went to a different college. Rachel might not be the bright person like Gideon is, but she is still a great student and liked to learn new things. Gideon did engineering while Rachel went to pursue a nursing degree. However, she was unable to finish it because she fell pregnant with her first kid. Rachel had to drop out in the middle of her third year, and she moved back home and got an apartment with her parents' money. Rachel wasn't very happy with the fact that she had to raise a kid instead of pursuing her dreams. But her mother, Alisha, reassured her that she could have always gone back to finish her studies when the baby was a bit older and could be left alone with, her and my father-in-law, Jeremy. So that's what she decided to do. On the other hand, Gideon and I were thriving. Gideon had started interning with a big company that had been very impressed by him and his intellect and had already offered him a huge package that he had already accepted. And I too was interning at a great architectural firm. We were both doing well, and the cherry on top, Gideon had asked me to marry him on the day I got my job offer. But then Rachel's baby came along, and it became difficult for her parents to afford an apartment for their daughter and the baby's expense as well. They tried to convince Rachel to move in with them, but she didn't want to, while expecting her parents to pay the rent, so Gideon stepped up and decided to help out with her bills as she was earning good money by then. Oh, that made Rachel so mad. But she did not directly say anything. She hates that her brother is successful and takes care of everyone. She hates that he was able to graduate while she's stuck at home with her son, Timothy. It's visible in her behavior towards my husband and her straight-up ungratefulness. She hates it when Gideon talks about work or anything about himself as, she's very bitter. If Rachel would ever overhear Gideon talking about how work had been difficult, she would tell him to go, do something to himself if he didn't like his life. And by that, I mean something very, very bad. Even when she fully knows that Gideon struggles with depression ever since he was a teenager. Then she would laugh when Gideon's face would fall, claiming that she was just joking when it was clear that she had just said it to make Gideon stop talking. When I bring up this behavior of Rachel with my mother-in-law and father-in-law, they excuse her behavior saying that she's just tired because she has to take care of a kid. They claim that I would not understand because I don't have kids yet, but I just think that's a stupid excuse. And it's not a one-time thing. See, Rachel's terrible to Gideon every time they meet, often saying insensitive things that should not even be said to a normal person, let alone someone who's actively struggling with depression. She claims that they're just harmless jokes, but I know that they're not harmless. They affect my husband even though he claims otherwise. Gideon, often grows quiet whenever Rachel is around, so as not to get the brunt of her wrath. I hate seeing it. I often call Rachel out on her behavior, which really makes her mad, but she doesn't have any power over me. Gideon has been working overtime for the past week because of the deadline for his project. He had just submitted the work yesterday and returned home completely drained. Today he did not get out of bed, and I tried to convince him, with his favorite breakfast, but he didn't even give me a response. I decided to call into his work and tell them that he was sick. His boss had been impressed with his work lately and told him to take a few days off. He deserved it. I also called into my work asking if I could work from home. I usually do that when I know Gideon is struggling, and then I spent the whole day trying to get Gideon to get out of bed. I was successful by mid-afternoon. He was just so drained, and we had a small dinner organized for the evening. Rachel and Gideon's parents were coming over along with some of uncle and aunts. I took him to the grocery store saying that I needed something for today's dinner. Yep, even though I didn't, and by the end he was feeling so much better. Well, me and Alisha, my mother-in-law, we are not very close, but we know each other since I was a kid and we're always on talking basis. I was getting the dinner ready and I was just telling her how Gideon wasn't feeling very great today and how I basically had to force him just to get out of bed. Well, I didn't know that Rachel had overheard our conversation completely. And when we were sitting down to have dinner, that's when she said that Gideon was just overreacting to things because he doesn't even have anything to be depressed about. That's when I realized that she must have overheard me and Alisha talking in the kitchen. She even went ahead and told him to stop acting like a baby and annoying his wife with his antics. I told her to shut up, but she was completely undeterred, and I mean it, like straight up completely, and continued with her cruelty against my hubby. She told him that if he was struggling so much, rather than drag me down with him, he should just, to himself, and stop being a burden to everybody. And that's when I've had enough of her words. Without even making a conscious decision, I leaped up across the dining table and punched her square across the face. Blood burst out of her nose, and Gideon pulled me back towards him when Rachel tried to grab me blindly as tears of pain fell down her cheeks mixed with all the blood. I screamed at her to get out of my home. If she can't be respectful to the owner of the house and to the person who pays for her, she's never invited back in, and when she heard that, she picked up Timothy and they went on their little merry way. Well, all the while giving me the straight-up stink eye. When she was gone, Alisha turned towards me angry, and she was mad at me for punching Rachel, not because she was her daughter, but because, now Rachel would take her anger out on them. But it's not my fault that they forgot to give her daughter manners. Gideon assured me that her words did not get to him, but I know that that's not true. And I love him so much, I don't want him to do something because he's triggered by Rachel's words or something. I want to keep him safe, and I don't care how many times I have to stand up against Rachel for it. I don't care. I've had enough of this woman's tantrums. She's decided to have a baby. She's decided to put a stop to her degree, and she decides not to have a career. And Gideon just decided to help her through her decisions that she took, and still she treats him like this? It's honestly just really baffling to me, guys. It really is, and I don't know. How can she hate her own twin brother this much? I'm actually so tired of this behavior of her. Can't even imagine how exhausting it must actually be for Gideon. I don't care if she thinks that having a baby ruined her life. That was still her decision. Darn it. What's up, everybody? Mr. Reddito here. We have some updates that you are gonna say, oh man, I can't believe that just happened. Anyways, if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing for daily videos. And if you're already subscribed to the channel, you might want to know I have another channel that's based specifically on revenge stories. Mr. Reddito's Revenge. Just type it in top of YouTube and make sure you subscribe to that one too. Guys, here's the first update. Update number 1. Hey guys, it's Cherry here. About 2 weeks ago, I told you how my sister-in-law treats her twin brother, my husband, horribly, just because she's bitter that she could not finish her college while he did and is earning good money. You wouldn't believe how entitled that woman is. I might have punched her the last time we met, but I was not going to apologize for my actions. After all, she had goaded me into it. And anywho, it's her who needs to fix her attitude, not me. I've always been civil towards her. However, she did not like that we hadn't come to apologize. Me and Gideon have been relaxing at our house when Rachel rang our doorbell. I had been the one who opened the door, and there she stood with her little entitled attitude. She immediately started talking the moment she saw Gideon lying on the couch. She pointed at him and said that neither of us would be able to live in her shoes for even a week if we tried. Well, I rolled my eyes at that because she's truly dramatic. That's when she issued us a challenge. She challenged us to take care of her toddler Timothy for a week, and that'll teach us a good lesson to not mess with her. She claimed that that's when Gideon will learn what actual hard work is and will stop crying about things for no reason. Then she went on and on about how hard her life is and that it will even help Gideon get the perspective of other people's struggles. I had honestly tuned her out after she told us to take care of her toddler for a week, and Gideon and I have been discussing having kids of recently. We want children, very much, but we're young. We're scared that maybe we aren't ready and that we shouldn't rush into such a big commitment. But if Rachel gives us her son for a week, we can see if we can take care of a kid just yet. At this moment, I've realized that this was a perfect opportunity to see if we would be good parents or not. Well, I interrupted Rachel about her stupid little rant and took Gideon aside. When I talked to him about it, he was also interested. He said that he could work from home and he doesn't need to always go to the office in person anyways. And I'll work from home when he has to go to the office in person. Anyways, Timothy goes to preschool for half of the day. We went out and told her that we're going to do it. We're going to accept the challenge. We also told her that if we won the challenge, she would not be allowed to spew her bitterness about us just because she was a miserable woman. She was offended by that, but we were too busy taking Timothy out of the stroller that he was in. Then we pushed her out of the house while she just gaped at us. She said that she would be back in 7 days and looked smug when she said that, "Thank you for babysitting her kids for free." I almost told her that she didn't have any money of her own anyways, so even if she paid us, it would have been our own money anywho. Regardless, I'm so glad for this opportunity. We will finally know if we're ready to have a kid of our own or not. Updates number 2. Hello everyone, it's Cherry here again. Last week my sister-in-law challenged me and my husband to take care of the toddler for a week of hers. And we won the challenge with ease. See, Gideon and I already loved Timothy a lot, and we had all had just the best time together. Gideon had worked from home 3 days out of 5, and while taking care of Timothy after he came back from preschool. Gideon was absolutely amazing with his nephew. He would call Timothy and get him to calm down with such relative ease. You see, kids have always gravitated towards his calm demeanor, and he used it to his advantage. Me and Timothy also had a great time. I took him out to run errands with me, and we went to coffee runs together, where he ate those little cookies that they give the kids at Starbucks. And we went to the convenience store as well, where I got him so many cute outfits. Gideon had just shook his head when I showed him the many new clothings that I've gotten for Timothy. I think we're ready to have a kid. Maybe we're young, but we're really wanting one. And Gideon even claims that his mental health was a lot better now, when there was a kid around. He was always occupied when Timmy was around, and maybe it'll really help him having a kid of our own to take care of. We went back, handed Timmy off to Rachel at a small diner at one of my in-laws' house, and she had not seemed happy when we told her how much fun we had with the kid. It seemed like she herself doesn't have much fun with her own son and pretends like her kid is a chore. She claimed that we were clearly lying so that we could win the challenge. She announced that there was absolutely no way in hell that we had as much fun as we claimed with that little kid. She, for some reason, could not accept that we were capable of taking care of the kid for a week. I just shrugged and told them that we had so much fun with little Timmy, and we were thinking of having a kid of our own soon. That shut her up, and that also made my in-laws happy. My in-laws had been mad at us since I punched their daughter, but this news seemed to have made them forget about the incident completely even. See, Rachel tried to discourage us again at that. Yep, again, saying that taking care of a kid for a week is not equivalent to having a kid of your own, Well, I did agree with her, but we're going to grow with the baby, right? Me and Gideon are so excited for the future, and Gideon, especially, has been over the moon ever since we decided to try. But I could see Rachel burn in jealousy all dinner long. She didn't like that we used her challenge to decide what we wanted to do with our own lives. And, I just don't understand this girl. I don't get it. Didn't she think that having a kid is difficult and our lives are easy? Shouldn't she just be happy that our lives will just be as hard as hers now? Unless she's just mad that we're happy in general, I think it's the latter. Update number 3. Hey guys, it's Cherry here once again. 2 weeks ago I told you that we aced my sister-in-law's challenge to take care of her kid for a week with flying colors. We had so much fun that we realized that we wanted a kid of our own, to Rachel's dismay. Gideon and I have talked about it in depth, and we've decided to start trying to have a kid soon. But not just yet, see. He wants to have a big house before having kids, and we're saving up for a house of our own, and then we'll get one. But we're really very excited about the aspect of having a little child running around the house. We've been talking about it almost constantly with my in-laws, and we were over at my cousin's kid's first birthday party, and it's just been family and a few of her friends over there. I was talking to her about motherhood and what her experience had been. Listening to her talk like she actually liked her kid's existence, unlike Rachel, made me feel so giddy to experience motherhood on my own. We were talking about babies to her when Rachel just had to go and interject. She announced that we would be horrible parents. After all, we're horrible to her, so how can we be nice to a newborn? She reminded me that I punched her just a month ago, and I'll probably end up hitting my own kid and be physically abusive to my child if I can't even rein in my anger at her. I just rolled my eyes at that. Obviously, right? And everybody else in the room just basically ignored her. The whole family knew the sort of woman Rachel was, and they know that she's ungrateful and hates her brother for some reason. So her public claims like this did not even get people to bat their eyes at her. She didn't get anyone's attention, and I knew that must have made her mad than anything else. And she took that out on Gideon. Gideon and I have been standing on the side having fun when she joined us. She told Gideon that she was concerned for him. She claimed that she didn't want us to have kids because she was scared that Gideon would pass off his depression to the child. Is that what he wants? I interjected and reminded her that she did not think that he had depression. According to her taunts, he had always been acting like he was depressed. But Rachel ignored me, and she told Gideon that just because he had a fun week with Timothy doesn't mean that he'll have a good time with his own kid. Kids are scary and they exhaust you, and for somebody who already struggles to stay alive, it'll be even harder. And who knows if the kid won't be just as depressed as his daddy-o. I grabbed Gideon's arm and took him aside away from Rachel and her poisonous words. I can't believe that Rachel stooped so low as to gaslight my own husband into not having a child, as that's what he truly wanted. I assured Gideon that we would be alright, but I think Rachel got to him, guys. He doesn't seem as excited as before or even as happy, and I'm so mad at Rachel, I'm going to make her pay for her manipulation. How dare she think that she can just get away with poisoning my husband right in front of my eyes? Update number 4. Hey guys, this is Cherry again. Probably my last update, but hey, a month ago, my sister-in-law literally tried to gaslight my husband right in front of my eyes, as if I would just let her do whatever. A few things have happened since then, so let me catch you up. I made Gideon stop paying for Rachel. She's always been ungrateful towards him, and at least now she'll have a reason for acting like it. I told him that we could put his money in our savings to buy our own house and have kids. He's still reluctant, though. He even asked me, what would we do if he gave his depression to his kid? I just reminded him that I already dealt with somebody who struggled with his mental health, and I would help the kids too if they ever struggled. And all we can do is try our best, and he agreed and is back on the train. Albeit not completely. I know he'll come around though, and when he has cleansed his brain of the self-doubt because of Rachel, well, within a week of us not paying Rachel, she calls us asking what's taking so long. That's when I told her that we would be using the money for savings and we would not be paying for her anymore. She freaks out and asked us how she'll pay for the babysitter. I made a non-committal noise and told her that she should start working if she wants a babysitter and cut the call short. Ever since, she's been asking for money from his parents. Also, my in-laws tell me that she's tired of taking care of her kid 24/7, and honestly, I didn't know that she learned to lean on the babysitter so much. All I knew was that she often left Timmy with his grandparents for hours on end, and that's it. Almost 4 weeks after we stopped paying for her, she showed up at our house and she begged Gideon to restart giving her money. She claimed that she could not be stuck with the kid any longer. Gideon was melting, but I stood our ground. We told her that we needed to save up for our own future as well, and if she had been nicer to us, maybe, just maybe, we would have considered, it again. Well, she brought it on herself. She apologized profusely for her behavior, but that didn't change anything that she had said and done so far. I told her to find a job instead of embarrassing herself like that in front of us and shut the door in her face. You won't believe what Rachel did afterward, guys. She left her toddler at my in-laws' house 2 days ago and just left. They even went to her old apartment and her landlord told us that she was gone. We haven't been able to get to her via calls, and we've even tried to get her phone traced, but she's nowhere to be found. Rachel just left her toddler at her parents' house and vanished like a ghost. I mean, what the hell? Update number 5. This one is definitely the final update. Hey guys, it's Cherry. This is it. It's been 2 months since my sister-in-law left her kid at her parents' doorstep. We've made some important life decisions at this time, so I thought I would tell you about it. My in-laws had taken Timothy under their roof for almost a month now. They were convinced that Rachel would come back, especially my mother-in-law. She wasn't ready to believe that her daughter could just leave her 3-year-old alone and leave. She was convinced that Rachel had gone off for some important business. But when she didn't return, her hopes shattered and she had to accept that her daughter had just abandoned her child, just like that. She had been inconsolable when she realized it, and we offered to take care of Timothy after that. We brought him home alone with the luggage Rachel had left for him. We didn't know what to do with him. I mean, we don't think that Rachel will be coming back just to take Timothy with her. Me and Gideon have been considering adopting him as our own child. He likes the idea, but is scared to seem rude towards his sister if she ever came back. Even Alisha thinks that she won't, though. She's very mad at her daughter, so I guess we're becoming parents now, guys. It's official. We've started the adoption process yesterday. We love Timothy, and he deserves to grow up in a good family instead of a flighty mother like Rachel, who only took good care of him as long as she had her brother's money so she could spend on babysitters to take care of him. And if Rachel ever came back, she did abandon her child and would not have any rights to him. At least that's as far as we have thought about the future. Thanks for following me. It gave me comfort knowing that you were just as enraged at Rachel's behavior towards my husband as I was.
That story was a heater. Let's go ahead and check out a couple comments because these 2 comments got a lot of attention in the multiple updates. I kept seeing these 2 people comment about everything. The first one comes from Turr237. Oh, wow. I can't believe it was this easy for Rachel to just leave her children. And clearly she didn't even try to get a job on her own. She just decided to beg her brother and then left the kid when she couldn't convince him. I can't believe how she was so entitled beforehand. And for what? She clearly had babysitters who took care of her kid whenever she needed help. So what was she struggling with for oh so long? You and your husband are good people who took your nephew in with you. You should have definitely adopted him. I mean, who cares if it's rude to your sister-in-law? She abandoned the kid. He's just going to be sad, and I'm glad he's too young to really understand the magnitude of what is happening. Guys, here's where comment 2 comes from Andy929. It says, Cherry, Rachel's departure is your fault. Alongside your husband, you're literally pushing her off so much that she didn't see any other option but to leave her kid with her parents instead of giving him a bad life with herself. If you haven't taken away her motherly allowance of the month that she's getting money, however, you gave her money, she wouldn't have to take this drastic step. You are truly horrible people who pushed a single mother too far. The poor woman must be so sad without her children. Don't think you're good people adopting your nephew. You're indirectly stealing a kid from his mom. You should be ashamed of your actions, OP. Your actions have caused a kid to lose his mother from his life. And even now, you can't sympathize with that poor woman. At least now admit that you made a huge mistake so we can all hear it. Wow, that one was going straight for OP. Who are you siding with? Comment A or comment B, guys. Thank you for joining me today. This is Mr. Reddito's channel if you're new here, and I drop a story every single day, so make sure you subscribe. I'll catch you tomorrow, and of course, remember, it's cool to be kind. Peace.